Welcome back to the Blue Stable Podcast, guys, the official podcast of Fansided for the Colts. I mean, man, it is one hell of a week. We got so much going on in sports. We got the Colts returning to Indy. Everyone is in Indy. We got football going on in Indianapolis. We got playoffs, playing tournament. We're going to get into everything. But, of course, as always, I'm your host, as always, Michael Terrazas. Joined by me is Destin Adams. We will miss Rashad once again for this show, but we will have him back soon enough. So good luck with that wedding, brother. We will hold it down for you. So Dustin, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. I mean, it sucked not being here with you guys on Monday. I had to pack. I tried to get around it. If you're watching on YouTube, you see that my Colts background is gone. It's because my podcasting area is currently overrun with boxes and everything like that. So now I'm out in our living room. I've been kicked to the living room to be able to record by the wife, but super excited to be back.
Absolutely. And hey, I mean, it's a big milestone in our lives when we get to move. And I remember when we moved from one apartment to another, we literally did that in 2 days. And that was not the intention. We just got the ball rolling and we just did not stop. So, hey, it happens. Getting started here, I mean, it's a pretty big time in the NBA right now. So I feel like we got to spend a little bit of time on this before we get started with some Colts football. But, man, Destin, this play-in tournament that has been talked about for the last year or so, we've seen it play out. Right now, the Pacers did not go their way. They got destroyed against the Washington Wizards.
I mean, it depends on what you mean by their way. I mean, I wanted to lose to the Hornets. I wanted to be on the first ticket to the lottery. Obviously, it took 2 games for it to happen because for whatever reasons, the Hornets couldn't even allow the Pacers to tank. But as a Pacer fan, with all the injuries that this team's had this year, I mean, I was really ready to just move it to the lottery. I mean, they're going to have to play in the playoffs without 2 of their 5 starters. Like, what's the point? And actually, Caris LeVert got COVID this week, so therefore they're going to play without 3 of their 5. The Pacers had no business trying to get into the playoffs this year. I'm glad that the Russell Westbrook trend of being able to be his best damn self against the Pacers kept going.
Look, from an outsider's perspective, Pacers need to blow it up, man. They got coaching issues year after year. The players can't be coached. It's Nate McMillan 1 year, and then the next year, surprisingly, Nate McMillan is actually doing great. But now the new coach comes in. Oh, we have a problem with him too. So that's just an outsider's perspective.
It just depends on what you mean by blow it up, I guess. I mean, I think there are very few untouchable players in the NBA, like across the entire league. Like, there are very few teams that actually have a guy that I would deem untouchable. Like, you're a Mavericks fan. Luka's one of them. Like, I would say he's untouchable. Like, anyone who called to trade for him, like, there's not a package I'm taking. But, like, there are very few players in the league that's the case for. I mean, you could probably say LeBron. Like, you're not going to trade LeBron. You're not going to trade Anthony Davis anymore. You're not going to trade Luka. You're not going to trade Giannis. But, like, and you're not going to trade Durant. You're not going to trade Harden. You know, obviously, the Rockets had to. Like the only reason you're trading those guys if they want out. But for the Pacers, I mean, I would just build around Caris LeVert and Sabonis. I mean, whatever else they want to do. I mean, there's no one else that I would deem that you have to keep. But I think a young core, you're getting TJ Warren back, who is just an automatic scorer. So not having him this year hurt, not having Caris LeVert when he was going through his cancerous tumor they found, like, that sucked for a couple of months. It just really felt like the Pacers really never had a chance to be stable this year. So it sucked. Fire the coach, fire Nate 2.0.
Firing another coach.
Yeah, firing another Nate.
So do we get to fire any players that are responsible for the bad play?
I mean, I think running it back when you're a team that's not a contender is dumb. And the Pacers did that. I mean, they decided to basically run it back. The only acquisition they made was re-signing Justin Holiday. And I'm never for that. I mean, I think there's definitely some guys you should trade. I mean, Pacer fans won't like it, but I think you should trade Miles Turner. I think his value is going to be as high as it's ever been this offseason.
Hey, I mean, I'll give you Boban for Miles Turner. There you go.
I did not say I would give him to the Mavericks.
Hey, I mean, if he was a free agent, I'd bet Miles Turner wants to come back home. Why not? Give the Twin Towers, Miles Turner and KP. I mean, that's the Twin Towers right there. But this play-in tournament, man, there were a couple of games that you would tune into, but that were just not entertaining whatsoever. Wizards and Celtics, that was entertaining, but Hornets and Pacers was not entertaining at all. That was a blowout.
I don't think anyone wanted to watch it before the blowout.
No, I forced myself to watch it. I think when I watched it, I think you guys already had like a 20-point lead already.
Oh, so. No. The Pacers were blowing the Hornets out from like the first whistle for whatever reason.
Yeah, that's what I had happened. But Memphis, man.
That was a fun game. Both of the West play-in games were good. The first play-in games. I mean, we haven't seen the second yet, but I mean, the Grizzlies were handling the Spurs. The Spurs made a comeback. The Grizzlies ended up holding it off and winning. I mean, that's who everyone wants to win that. Like, I think teams are just done. I mean, fans are just done watching that Spurs team.
Yeah, I mean, DeMar DeRozan's set to be a free agent. Rudy Gay. Hey, I mean, as a vet, he can be really strong for you. I think he might even be a better option than Carmelo Anthony at this stage in their careers. But hey, man, I mean, getting to this game that was last night, highly anticipated matchup. I mean, we were treating it like it's game seven of the NBA Finals. So Lakers and Warriors, man, that was a very, very, very entertaining game. I watched it from the tip all the way to the final whistle. And man, my takeaway was the Warriors really let the Lakers off the hook. They really did. They controlled the whole game. I know they picked it up defensively. I know that, but the Warriors were still hitting their shots. They were still getting going offensively. Draymond was still, man, dude, Draymond is who you want to run your franchise. He just is the leader, the passion. He's basically just a heavier point guard. I mean, he's a teacher on the floor, one of the best defenders in the game, and he reminded us of that last night. There's nothing about this dude that you honestly can't like. I'm not even a Warriors fan, and I love this dude. I want him in a Mavericks uniform.
As I said, now some NBA fans are going to disagree with you that you can't not like him because some people think he's like as dirty as they come. I love watching Draymond. I've always loved it.
Yes.
I mean, he's just like one of those like full of grit, 110% effort kind of guys. And he's never been a guy that has been forced to be something he's not. Like, I've always just felt like these like defensive first guys always get shoved into having to be these offensive players. And it's just always so dumb. I mean, if you're excellent at something, be excellent at it. Don't force yourself into what people think you should be. And Draymond's never let the outside world dictate what he is, what he's going to do. He's just always been Draymond Green. And I've always appreciated that. Now that game last night, I mean, that was by far the best game. I think everyone knew that was going to be the best game. I mean, yeah. Curry has been as hot as you can get the last 3 months.
Not everybody thought it was going to be the best game because everybody said the Lakers would destroy the Warriors. They said they were too strong, too long. They're healthy now. And, I mean, we even had this discussion with Eric off the record about, you should be scared of the Warriors, and last night proved you should be scared of the Warriors. The Warriors gave the Lakers every chance to win that game, and LeBron took it. I mean, that's what great generational talents do. It does not surprise me he made the shot. It does not surprise me. That's what we expect from LeBron James. But the Warriors, I felt in the second half, tried to get a little too fancy and trying to do these backdoor cuts, these backdoor passes, bounce passes, just doing too much shifty, fancy stuff. And it hurt them, in my opinion. So they let the Lakers off the hook. On LeBron, man, I mean, if after his NBA career, I got to give it to you, man. He should start filming some movies. He really should.
Space Jam 2 is on the way. I mean, I I think the play-in game was just his first act of his acting career, basically. Like he's just preparing for it. I have never seen a man just portray that you're on your deathbed as well as LeBron James did after getting smacked on the forehead by Draymond Green. I mean, it was beautiful. It was just watching the reaction, watching him flail on the ground. It looked like he was like twitching his leg, like he was trying to make it look like he was dying. And it was one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my entire life. It made the game so much more enjoyable. I mean, LeBron, I don't think you'll ever get a person to argue how talented LeBron James is. But if people want to ask, why do people hate on LeBron James? You should just watch his reaction to being fouled last night on a loop. Like it's just so easy not to like this guy.
Just watch how he reacts his whole career.
But that one was something else, man.
Dude, no, that one was the icing.
Hitting the game winner, and then in his post-game conference saying, I saw 3 rims. I just aimed for the middle. Are you serious, LeBron?
Right.
Like, don't be corny. Like, come on. Like, you're a young kid. You came from Akron. Like, don't let Hollywood change you this much. Like, you don't gotta be an actor. You don't gotta. But it's whatever. The Lakers ended up winning. Really fun game. But hey, this is an NFL podcast. This is a Colts podcast. Do we need to get off the NBA? Yes. But are we going to use this topic to go into something? For sure. So, Michael, the play-in tournament has been this huge big ordeal. There's been so many people that are against it. There's so many people that think it's a great idea. But my question for you is this something that the NFL should look into doing?
No.
Like everyone wants to expand the playoffs in some way. Like, should there be a play-in style game right before the playoffs, like a week 19 almost, just for those wild card-esque teams to try to get into the playoffs to add a spot or two?
I say no, but I would definitely, if this was a thing I could put in DraftKings, I would bet $500 the NFL will do this. Because it's going to drive ratings, it's going to drive up money and everything like that. So I say no personally. I just don't know what you're getting out of it. If you're a team that's sorry, then you're sorry. If you're a team that's not, then you will be in the playoffs. That's just how it goes. And I truly, in the next 2 years, I expect that to be done. I truly do. I wouldn't even be surprised if last minute in June or July, they start getting this thing in motion. They start putting it in motion because I do not want to watch freaking who would ideally be in an 8-9 or a 7-8 matchup to get the 7th seed.
I mean, it'd be a bunch of those wild card teams. So it'd be like the NFC West probably would have a few that would be in there. You'd probably see maybe one of the AFC South teams that didn't win the division up there.
Pittsburgh and Cincinnati. I'll just throw one out there.
Do you think Pittsburgh's even gonna? Do you even think Pittsburgh's gonna win 8 games?
No.
They're not gonna be there.
I'm just throwing something out there. I don't want to watch that. I don't want to watch Jacksonville when I know they suck. I don't want to watch New York Jets when I know they don't have a quarterback. They don't have anything good. I mean, I don't want to watch that. Good for you, NFL. Getting more ratings, more ticket sales, more so forth and so on. I would be all for if you just want to stretch the playoff field to 8 games. Hey, let's do that. Let's go.
Let's go look. Let's make this a little bit more realistic. Let's go look at what teams that just missed the playoffs last year would have benefited from a play-in style. So the 10-6 Dolphins would probably be the most notable.
Absolutely.
Like that's a team that would have gotten in if there was a little bit of a play-in style. The next one, there's not a lot of – the next team – there's not a 9-win team that missed the playoff last year. So the next one would be like the Arizona Cardinals last year. The Raiders last year were 8-8. A bunch of 7-win teams last year. So last year, there's not that many teams that I would say I wish those guys would have been in the playoffs so we could have watched them play. 'Cause even the Dolphins last year, they weren't a team that I liked rooting for the Dolphins and I loved rooting against them that last week so the Colts got in the playoffs. But they're not a team that you watch and you're like, man, they're so fun to watch.
Dude, they're so boring to watch. Like, I don't know why. It is so boring to watch Tua Tagovailoa throw the football in the NFL. It's boring.
It was always better when Ryan Fitzpatrick would come in and play closer.
Oh, dude, I hate that freaking Brian Flores did that. I hate that.
Hey, it won them games. They had to do what was best for them. So I will say, to answer the question that we brought up originally, I am team play-in for every other sport almost. I want a play-in system for college football because I think it's the perfect way for them to expand their playoff. First of all, only having 4 teams is ridiculous. College football, fix that. But I just think they just need to have some sort of play-in there. The NFL, I don't think they need a play-in system. I mean, there's very few teams every year that it's like, man, I wish they would have got in. I wish they would have had a chance. They could have made some noise if they got in. Like, you just don't see like that in the NFL as much. But I like the play-in system. I'm one of those people that I think the play-in system in the NBA is a decent idea. Now, The only problem is the NBA is one of those sports where it's a 7-game series setup. So no matter what team gets in there, like the only team right now playing in the play-in system that has a chance to come out of their conference is the Lakers. Like, that's it. Like, that's the only one the NBA will allow, in a sense. I'm not saying the NBA is rigged, but the NBA definitely puts a lot of effort into helping some of those players and teams at times. But like the Lakers are the only team that's going to have a chance out of that setup. So to me as a Pacers fan, why would I want to win those play-in games? There's no point.
I mean, you have a point there. I'm all for, if you want to add an 8th seed, go ahead, man. 8 go against 1 and all that stuff. I'm all for it, dude. Get that. Create 4 rounds. I mean, that's what it is now. But hey, I mean,
we probably won't see them expand anytime soon. They just went to 14.
Yeah, they just did. And the other thing is, if you're gonna have everyone starting to play, are you gonna give every team a bye week after the regular season and then come to the playoffs, or after the playoffs, no more bye weeks?
Maybe if they get rid of the Pro Bowl. Maybe if they get rid of the Pro Bowl and then they go straight in for the playoffs and the Super Bowl, maybe.
Because here in the NBA, at least they gave them a week to prepare, and I feel lonely because I can't watch Luka Doncic do his thing, but I know what I'm going to get Saturday, but it's a week that they get. So maybe the NFL should do just that if they were to expand this thing and say, hey, everyone did their thing. Instead of giving 1 and 2 the bye, everyone gets a week. And then, because it's a long, gruesome season, clearly gave everyone 17 games without 2 bye weeks. So if you want to get 2 bye weeks, get in the playoffs.
Maybe I'm just a person of habit, but it would be really weird for me not to see a team have a bye in the playoffs for the NFL. Like, I just feel like it was weird for me this last year where a 2 seed didn't earn a bye. Like it's just so strange. Like, I just feel like that's just a thing that teams have always battled for, that matters so much for. I mean, obviously the home field, it's a win and go home system. So the home field always matters more in a win and go home system than a series system anyway. But to me, I just don't think the play-in is ever something the NFL is ever going to go towards. I mean, the NFLPA and the NFL have been in so many arguments recently. I don't even think they're going to try to get too fancy with this kind of stuff. I think they're going to keep it the 14-team system that they have, the 7 on each side, the 1-team bye, and they're just going to keep rolling with it. Now, the thing that could change some things eventually is if they decide finally to scrap the Pro Bowl, even if it was just like an events week, like something else. That's the major change that I could see the NFL making scheduling-wise.
With the NFL, it's just hard to have an event like that because with NBA, you're not making contact with anyone. So it's easy and great to have those miraculous dunks, those all-star games. It's amazing. And even when they put charity on the line, that's great. But in this game of football, even if they came up with a charity thing, are players really going to dig down deep to play this game all the way in something that's meaningless to them? Let's be honest. The greater risk for injury in football is much greater than in the NBA. I mean, one wrong stick, one wrong leg plant, one wrong tackle or whatever can literally take you out for the next year. That's what it can do. I think the
events can just be like non-contact events. Like I think the dodgeball game's fun. Like that's something they can keep. Like, and then you can just go back in time, like the quarterback throwing competitions they used to have. Like those could be entertaining.
Or 7-on-7.
Well, just like random things you could come up with. Like there are a lot of mini games that would be fun that people would watch. I bet it would do better ratings than the Pro Bowl does.
Dude, I haven't watched a Pro Bowl and I don't know how long. I think the last one was like 2016 because I think I wanted to see T.Y. when he led the league in receiving yards.
I used to watch the draft when they drafted the teams.
Yeah, I've never watched that.
I remember Andrew Luck getting drafted first, like overall, and thinking we were big stuff, Colts
right?
But like, I always thought that system was cool because it just kind of felt like a fantasy system. So you were like getting to see like how people viewed like those players. But I mean, the Pro Bowl is just meh. Like I watch it because I love football, but I mean, it's not even really football. There's no defense, zero defense, no attempting at defense. It's just basically who can be the first one to score.
The ball carrier can't even run full speed. Like I just scrap the whole thing, man. It's okay. Have a basketball tournament between the teams. I mean, who doesn't want to see Big Q running down being point forward? Who doesn't want to see that? I mean, do that instead. I don't know with this whole thing with the NFL. Just give us another 8 seed, and I think we'll be moving just fine. I can't speak too much on this stuff because I think it's just going nowhere. So moving on here, guys. Manscaped, the lawnmower 4.0 is officially here, and it is the best one yet. Get 20% off and free shipping with code Fansided20 at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com and use code Fansided20. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped. So, getting into some Colts football finally, guys. We're going to start getting into some neat topics here. And we're going to start at training camp. Or not training, mini camp rather, because it's mini camp. So, we got to talk about our new guy wearing number 2, Carson Wentz, having his first practice. I don't know what in the world's been going on. Apparently, there was things that Carson was missing practice. Oh, no, he wasn't missing practice. He was seen out there. Oh, no, he wasn't seen out there. I have been busy this week. I haven't been reading those articles, checking those updates. So, Destin, what the hell has been going on?
So it looked like he missed the first 2 days of minicamp practices because of some sort of illness, not COVID related. So he got some sort of illness the last couple of days that just kept him out of practice. I mean, he was back out there today. They didn't really make it seem like it was that big of a deal. So I'm sure, and they never really did, even those 2 days. Like they kept reiterating that it wasn't COVID related. So, I mean, he's back out there with the team. We got to see him throwing, I would say in a Colts jersey, but obviously it's a non-contact red jersey. So it's not the same feel, but it's no pads. They're rocking those Colts hats out there. So it's really our first look of him in active gameplay with a Colts any apparel on. So that's cool to see.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, that's, I guess some Colts fans might look at it and say, oh, that's not the way to start, but it is mini camp. Something I did want to touch on that actually just popped in my head here is that the fact that the team agreed and, to be at mini camp for 2 weeks and then, move on until training camp. They're going to come here, do their thing, build their chemistry, and then they will be done. They will be enjoying their well-deserved vacation, obviously, probably going to be staying in shape, obviously. But I love that, the fact that Ballard, Irsay, coaching staff, everyone values these guys that really do the work, that really get on the field and put it all on the line. They value that, and by agreeing to those demands, Ryan Kelly, an NFLPA rep, they agreed to that. And I think this team appreciates that so much. And it's so much easier to walk into work and say, man, I love coming here. I love talking with these guys, Ballard and all these guys, because there's nothing hanging over our head with, oh my gosh, man, I wish he would have just white kid. You know how you're at work and you just had an argument one day about one thing that didn't go your way. You come in the next day and it's clouding your judgment. You're not working well with that person. I don't think that's what's going on here. And that's healthy for a great work environment, for chemistry, for a relationship with everyone in the building. I absolutely love that, man.
I mean, I think the coolest thing about mini camp right now, I mean, it's not like training camp. There's no pads, there's no helmets, there's no contact yet. It's really just, the biggest thing is we have a new quarterback. We have the most important position in the game of football. And he's able to build those relationships. He's right now being able to be with all the guys. Phillip Rivers didn't get that last year. All of his was via Zoom. Like, they had to get in there. I mean, they said that some of the chemistry stuff wasn't even there until mid-season last year because of that. Like, so this is a big deal that he's going to be able to get in there. He's going to get to know the guys. I mean, he's been throwing with guys already, but there's so many other guys on this team that he's getting able to meet. I think that's huge for him. I think it's huge for the rookies being able to get mini camp this year. They had their rookie camp, obviously, but now we're translating into where they're going to be able to be on the field with everybody. I mean, we're seeing Kwity Paye next to DeForest Buckner. I mean, that's got to be a crazy feeling for these rookies being able to get out there, meet their teammates, put themselves out there. I mean, Paye's already running with the first team.
Yeah, I mean, I think I did see that. I believe in one of those videos the Colts released, so that was fun to see. But continuing here with Carson Wentz, I really do love the fact, because I feel like just mini camp, it's literally just everybody, let's learn what our roles are. Let's just go through the easy stuff real quick. You know, I like, say for instance, Kwity Paye. What he came into mini camp for, Brian Baker just laid it to him simple. Look, man, in these fronts, in these signal calls, you're going to be here. This is what we're going to run. This is what we expect of you. We're not going to get into all these stunts and all this until we get to training camp. So right now, I believe it's just, you know, refreshing on all the work you've done, refreshing and double checking that everyone here know what to do, know what their job is, and let's move forward. That's what it's all. I believe this is just a chemistry building, get everybody together, get everybody with one another. And hey, I mean, Carson Wentz, you said it, he's been throwing with the guys, but has he been in huddles? Has he been running 7-on-7? Has he been running with linemen? Has he been communicating, chatting it up, getting with Kylan Granson? Has he been gotten with Mo Ali Cox? Getting all that stuff together, getting with the coaching staff. It's big, man. Like you said, pointed out with Phillip Rivers, this is big, especially for a guy who's 28 years old, still in the prime of his life. And like I said, man, there's just no excuses, and I'm excited to see how much more he progresses. The throws he was making that we saw from local media who put it on Twitter, shout out to those guys, wonderful work they do. I mean, I don't really put a lot into that. I think a lot of people can stand still and just drop back to pass, not probably give it the throw that Carson did, but you feel pretty good about the throw that you make, right? I mean, I'm over here thinking that I could play D1 football, and then reality hits. I throw an interception on a jet sweep fake pass. That's just how it goes. Yeah, they never ran that play back to me in high school again. So it was a misery. I was a linebacker for a reason, but I just love that, man. I mean, I'm excited to see where it goes. I don't expect much to be done. You know, going over maybe a little classroom work. Learning plays, and the vets getting with the young guys, teaching them all this stuff. I really like it.
Yeah, I mean, all those things. I mean, those are the big things about mini camp. And we're not going to find out a lot about like who's going to take these big steps until maybe training camp. We'll see a little bit more about who's improved their game. But the biggest thing for me too is you're getting to hear from some guys that don't speak out much in the off season. They're not big social media guys. They really keep to themselves in the off season. One of those guys was Big Q. There was a lot of speculation this off season of what the Colts were going to do if Quentin Nelson was on his way to get moved to left tackle, if they were going to draft a tackle. Obviously, we know now, hindsight, that they ended up signing Eric Fisher post the draft, and that's their goal, to be the left tackle whenever he gets healthy. But, I mean, Quentin Nelson was asked straight up about that situation. He said he wanted to stay at guard. Basically, when he was asked why he wanted to stay at guard, he just kind of went in the fact that it's the position he's always played. It's the position he played in college so well. It's the position that got him drafted to the NFL. It's the position that he's a 3-time All-Pro at. And I mean, I think me and you have agreed the entire process. It didn't make sense for Quentin Nelson to really move over to tackle, especially if he didn't want to. He's the caliber of guy that if he has no interest in moving over, you don't move him over. You don't force those kind of guys to move positions. And I mean, Quentin Nelson was really candid with the media about it this week, and that was really cool to see just because we haven't been able to see his perspective out in the open like that.
Yeah, and Quentin Nelson is a very outspoken guy. He is not scared, with these interviews I've seen him do with Big Cat and Barstool and all these. I mean, he doesn't shy away from any questions. He'll give it to you straight. He'll give it to you. He's not going to sugarcoat things. And, he did say that, if they needed to, then he would do it. But the fact that you just respect a player so much, hey, man, what do you want to do? You want to move? Or do you want to stay? You want to stay? All right, awesome. Let's move forward. Easy. Clean cut to the point. And yeah, we have agreed it didn't make sense, but I was a little bit more on board of, hey man, why don't you just kick him out? If he's open to it, go ahead. But it just, your thing was you're weakening 2 positions. That's what you said. I just think if you have an all-pro guy who's a talented lineman, you're going to be good at either spot he plays. That's just the thing. But I think where he drives this team is in the run game. Clearly, they run behind him a lot. So I think I saw somewhere on Twitter, apparently Quentin Nelson is not a team first guy. He's worried about his money, his position, doesn't want to do what the team needs.
If that was the case, left tackle makes more than anything.
Right. That's the thing. And oh my God, I just don't understand some of those comments sometimes, but there's nothing really more to talk about with Big Q. He's going to do what he does at left guard. He's still going to put people on their ass. He's going to pancake them. He's going to be another all-pro. So that's really it. But moving on here, Paris is now 100%. He put the emojis on it on Twitter. He put it out there like any other football player will these days. We're no longer waiting for the injury report. We're no longer waiting to hear from coaches. We just log on Twitter and we see that he's healthy again. So now that he is his own reporter, what does this mean for the Colts now that Paris is 100%?
Paris Campbell's had maybe the worst injury luck since he's entered the NFL as anybody. The serving size that the coaches and that we've gotten of him is so small. Like, it just seems like he always looks so explosive on the field. You can see the separation every time he's on a snap. Like, he just gets it. He's a guy who has all the skills. It's just we can't see it enough because of the injuries. And I'm happy for him. He's gotten back to 100%. I'm just hoping that we get a good enough serving size this year so the Colts can at least see what they have in Paris Campbell. I want that for Paris. I want that for the Colts. I want that for us. Like, I want to know what Paris Campbell is. If that's a T.Y. Hilton successor, and we think that's the skill set Paris Campbell is, then let's start grooming that. But we don't know what we have, and that's the biggest thing. But it was really good to hear that he was 100%. We're not going to have to see him hindered throughout the training camp. We're not going to have to see him lobbying, like taking days off because of it. Like, he's gotten the full stamp of approval. He's back to 100%. He's ready to go. He's fired up about it. The new number, the new start, rocking that number 1, that Uno that he likes to call it. I'm super excited for Paris Campbell. And I think Colts fans everywhere are just so curious to see what this kid has.
You said it. We're excited to see what this guy can be, but we're not saying we're excited because we know what he is. The thing about Paris is I tend to have a little bit more questions, I guess you could say, than excitement when we start getting closer to the season. With Paris, for a guy like Paris, and Chad Henry, the area scout that scouted Paris Campbell during his draft process, he literally just described him as a just rocket jet, just with burst. He's a sucker for that. And he also was not much of a receiver. When he got to Indy, he was going to develop. He was going to learn to run the entire route tree, to learn to anticipate. And I feel like these injuries have pushed that back so much. I mean, he's played in like I think it was 7 games his rookie year, but he wasn't practicing. He wasn't doing any of that. So how much development has he got into 3 years? And having multiple leg injuries, how much is that taking away from your burst? Those are questions that we have to see. I mean, with this Colts team, man, it's plenty of excitement, but there's so there's so many questions about the team. But for Paris, man, I mean, to me, he looked good in that small little clip. Obviously, anyone can look good going against air. But the thing is, just get him going, get his legs going again, and get his chemistry back up with Carson Wentz. So again, I'm ready to see where Paris Campbell can take his game. I'm not expecting the biggest things, man. I'm just not, because I just feel like his development has been pushed back tremendously. So I'm actually lowering my expectations of him, although I wouldn't be surprised if game 1 is kind of like week 1 last year when they were just going to Paris. I think he had 6 catches for 72 yards in that game, I believe. So, I mean, you saw what Frank Reich
and he was a focal point.
Yes, he was a focal point.
You could just see that, like, the plays were being designed for Paris.
He had two catches on the first drive, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. And then I think the next time out was when he got the attempt over towards the sideline and you saw the injury happen.
Oh, yeah. I remember that. Man, that sucked. But for Paris, man, I'm excited to see where it is. And, I mean, again, so much potential in this next topic. I mean, if you want to talk about potential, oh my gosh, I don't want to get too excited about this. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't want to get my hopes up. But damn it, Kenny Moore and T.Y. Hilton are not helping it, okay? There's a guy that resides in Georgia. Destin, I'm not sure if you've heard of him. He's basically dominated the league at his position. He has been a franchise guy, no-nonsense guy. He doesn't bicker. He doesn't whine like guys in Cleveland and Pittsburgh. He doesn't do any of that stuff.
He's probably your favorite receiver's favorite receiver.
He probably is. And he's probably my favorite receiver over T.Y. Hilton. I'm not over Michael Pittman.
Hey, T.Y. Hilton today said on Twitter that this guy is who he believes is the best receiver in the NFL.
Absolutely. Nothing has changed. I know he's dealt with injuries and everything, but dude, come on. Julio Jones at 32, he's better than Dez Bryant was at 26. I mean, oh man, Destin, you got to take the horns on this one, man. I don't want to get too ahead of myself, but I want to take a second to calm myself down to know what I want to say.
I mean, so the question at hand is, should the Colts trade for Julio Jones? I mean, all signs are saying that the Falcons want to move Julio Jones. It'll probably be after the June 1st threshold, just because the cap hit and some of the dead cap will be a little bit different for Atlanta than I believe. So, I mean, the question is, should the Colts trade for Julio Jones? It's not, do I want them to trade for Julio Jones? I need to remind myself that. I'm going to say the Colts shouldn't trade for Julio Jones. I mean, that's my answer. I just don't think it's you trade the draft capital it's probably going to take for a guy like Julio Jones to be traded at this point. I mean, even at 32, like you said earlier, I mean, he's just – I think he's a lock to be a top 5 receiver in the NFL. I mean, there's very few guys I would take over him. Like, I think the only guy that I can think that I'm saying 100% I would take, I'd take Devontae Adams over Julio Jones.
Not DeAndre Hopkins?
I would take DeAndre Hopkins over Julio Jones as well. So I think you're right. So,
okay.
Those two.
Okay. Yeah.
But I think that's the two that I would take.
Yep. That's the only ones.
And, I mean, even at age 32, I mean, he has some injury concerns. That's always hard for me to do a trade like that for. But the dude's so talented. Like, this is not a situation where I say they shouldn't trade for him, but if they do, I'm upset. Like that's nowhere near the case because you're still getting Julio freaking Jones. Like I don't even know how I'll be able to handle myself. Now the biggest thing is he cannot go to Tennessee. I don't care what has to happen. If the Colts have to get into the trade just so he doesn't go to Tennessee, do it. Because I do not want to play him twice a year. I don't want to have to listen to Titans fans talk about getting Julio Jones. So that cannot happen. But to answer the question, should the Colts trade for Julio Jones, I reluctantly say no.
So, in my opinion, yeah, I mean, I would fear Julio Jones in Tennessee, but I wouldn't fear Tennessee. I would fear Julio Jones. Man, should the Colts trade for Julio Jones?
If I put some compensation behind it, if I just put a projected trade, what it would take,
oh Jesus,
would that make it easier for you to say yes or no? So if the Falcons called and they needed a third next year, because we can't trade our first or second because we don't know which one's going to go.
Yeah, we don't know.
I mean, we could offer them whichever one doesn't go in the Wentz trade, I guess. I don't know how that would work with stipulations and stuff, but you could try. Mm-hmm. But let's instead of getting into all those what if worlds, let's say a third next year and a second the next after that. So a third in 2022 and a second in 2023, and you get Julio Jones. You pay him 15 this year, and then you pay him 11 the next 2 years.
I would do it. A couple of things that I'm going to point out. We talked about it in free agency, draft, comp picks. You got to think that we're going to get some of those. That's some capital to trade up into the draft. Regardless if you have the first or second, you're still going to be in a good spot. The good thing about Ballard, where he is right now, he's got most of these holes on the line or on the team. He's got them covered. Wide receiver, quarterback, running back, defensive line, corner, safety. He's got them covered. So there's not going to be a bigger emphasis on trying to find answers in 2022 draft. So I think that's an option there. How comfortable or how confident is he that possibly Marcus Brady, Morocco Brown can get head coach GM jobs and you can snag 2 third-rounders then? It just depends. But for that package, look, T.Y. Hilton has 1 more year left. We don't know how those contract negotiations are going to go next season. I'm not sure if Jim Irsay is going to give him a call again. I don't know. And that's what made it happen, a call from Jim Irsay. So if you're telling me if I can get Julio Jones, and in my opinion, you can still get 2 elite seasons out of him, oh, yes, absolutely. Why not? Why not strengthen a strength? Well, okay. I don't know if the wide receiver core is a strength yet because we don't know what pair is. Michael Pittman, I do assume he will be the number 1 receiver. But, man,
number one receiver production-wise, like what stats he puts out, or number one as in he gets the most targets?
Oh, actually, I honestly think both. Possibly. But I honestly think here's actually a hot take. I actually think Paris Campbell might get targeted more than T.Y. and Michael Pittman.
If he's healthy.
Yeah, if he's healthy. I truly believe that. But also, Michael Pittman, if Julio comes back, what is that conversation for number 11 like? What is that? Honestly, I would love to see Julio Jones in 88. I would love. He's a guy
Stop this blasphemy on this podcast.
Hey, man, Julio Jones is a Hall of Famer already. He's a Hall of Famer.
Marvin Harrison already has his jacket. He's already there.
Absolutely.
No one's wearing 88. No, Michael. But
what do you
stop
want to
it?
Put him
You're ahead of yourself. Oh no, here's the thing. This is what happens. If they trade for Julio Jones, we sit Michael Pittman down right before the trade. Chris Ballard brings him into his office. Michael Pittman's probably shaking his boots, think he's getting cut or something. And sits down. He's like, here's the thing, Michael. That 11 jersey, you didn't give it to Wentz. I understand. We just traded for Julio Jones. You're going to give him 11. This isn't an if, ands, or buts. We'll give you a bonus. You and your soon-to-be wife and child will have a few more $1 million somehow, some way. But that 11 jersey is going to go to Mr. Julio Jones.
And then you get 88.
Stop it. Stop trying to give away these beautiful numbers that are retired for a
dude,
reason.
come on, man. I mean, they have great things in store. But look, come on, man. You don't think
I believe after time, there are some arguments to unretire certain jersey numbers. Marvin Harrison is not one of the ones I think will be unretired for a very long time. I think it'll take a lot. I mean, 18, you're not going to see someone wearing 18 in Indianapolis anytime soon.
Oh yeah, no, that's already a for sure thing. That's never going to be worn again. But
I mean, it honestly,
but
if I asked you 87 or 88, which one would be more disrespectful to be worn?
None is getting disrespectful.
Oh,
None.
Stop it.
That's it. If you were giving Zach Pascal those numbers, who the hell is Zach Pascal? But
whoa. We respect Zach Pascal on this podcast.
No, I'm talking about if you have an elite monster robot coming into town.
Yeah, he gets his number 11. He doesn't.
No, he gets if Pittman. Once if he puts up a fight, no, I want 11. If I'm Julio, all right, man. Hey, Jim, you know that number 88? Yeah, I'm aware of that. I don't care what you say. I'm going to wear that. I'm not asking you. I'm just letting you know that's what I'm going to wear. So
I would say I think I would rather 88 be worn before 87. I think it's just because not because Reggie Wayne's a better receiver than Marvin Harrison, just because Reggie Wayne just has a way larger emotional pull. Colts fans than Marvin Harrison. I mean, he really does. Like the Reggie chants are infamous in Luke Soil Stadium.
And plus, he's in my era.
Oh
I got to see Reggie play. I never got
more than Marvin. Like we got to see a little bits of Marvin when we were younger.
Little, yeah.
But a lot of it was like the injured Marvin Harrison near the end. Marvin Harrison never wanted to get tackled. He was always a guy who dove out of bounds. But it was even worse near the end of his career. Like he wasn't allowing himself to get touched ever.
Dude, was 2012 the greatest Reggie Wayne season?
With Andrew Luck?
Luck's rookie year, dude. I
don't know, man. I mean,
that year was so good.
At his age, it was incredible for sure.
It was.
But I mean, he had some years with Peyton that Reggie, we miss you wherever you are. If I had to have one former Colt on, we've had some great conversations with former Colts. I've loved every single one of them. It's been amazing to talk to all these guys. But if I had to pick one person to talk to, former Colt, it'd be Peyton Manning or Reggie Wayne. And it's a lot closer than people probably think.
I'm actually torn between Tony Dungy and Reggie Wayne. I'm torn between those guys.
We've had this conversation about Tony Dungy. There are very few people I respect in this world more than Tony Dungy. Like Tony Dungy could write a book on his deathbed, and I'd buy it.
Yes,
and I may still try to get him to sign it.
Yeah, like that. That's just how it is. And when it comes to Peyton Manning, until he starts doing a little bit more stuff for the Indianapolis Colts, then I'll start loving him a little bit more. God, gee, all I see is Broncos commercials in Denver, charities in Denver, all this other crap, and nothing gets done in friggin' Indianapolis. Oh my gosh, dude, but the potential of Julio Jones in this offense, dude, oh my God, I still wouldn't say Super Bowl, but man, it would be so hard, and
you would flip the script on your 7-win projection though.
Right.
In an instant.
Yes, but I would even emphasize even more Carson. There is a huge problem if you fail with this team. There is a huge problem, and all I'm gonna say, should the Colts trade for him? Kyle, who does phenomenal work for the cap, says the Colts don't have the cap space. It doesn't matter if they don't. If a team wants a player with a fat contract, they're going to get said player with a fat contract, no matter how much cap hell they're in.
The salary cap's a myth.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to get around it, there's ways around it. I mean, we saw the Chiefs and Saints this offseason get out of their situations. I mean, you can't tell me that the Colts can't find a way to free up like $1 million it would take to make up the room to get Julio Jones. If they want Julio Jones, cap is not the reason not to go get him. The draft capital, I would understand. The cap, I mean, whatever. But moving on to our last topic of the day. This is the One Call Technology topic of the day. One Call Technology is a managed telecom service provider whose senior staff has over 100 plus years of experience in virtually every aspect of business communications, business phone system installation and services, managed telecom service providers, telecom carrier managements, and high-speed internet. Head on over to One Call's website at www.onecalltech.com or give them a call at 888-585-8850 and tell them the Blue Stable sent you. The last topic, I mean, moving on to a little bit more of a sour topic maybe for some people. The Colts, man, this is a way too early look, but the Colts have to pay a lot of people before 2022. So many guys who have contracts up. Michael, real quick, I'm just going to read you off the list. I'm going to try to only do the ones of even semi significance. Because I mean, for just a reference, I mean, the Colts have, including restricted free agents, have 41 guys whose contracts are up. I mean, that's a lot. I mean, they have 90 guys on the roster right now.
Yep.
So, I mean, that's incredible. But so some guys that really matter when talking about, I mean, Xavier Rhodes is going to be up again. TJ Carey is going to be up again. Kimoku Toure is going to be up. Alquan Muhammad is going to be up.
Al-Qadin.
Hey, I knew I was going to mess it up. Tyquan Lewis is going to be up. Newcomer Isaac Rochelle is going to be up if he makes the roster.
He won't.
Taylor Stallworth, an undrafted free agents guy who has found a place here in the NFL, is going to be up. Mark Glowinski is going to be up. Braden Smith is going to be up. Chris Reed, a newcomer, is going to be up. Darius Leonard's going to be up. Eric Fisher, new tackle, is going to be up. Matthew Adams, Zaire Franklin. I mean, some people might not think they're significant, but they're pretty big special teams guys on this team.
Huge special teams, especially Zaire Franklin.
Marlon Mack's going to be up, obviously. Naeem Hines is going to be up. Jordan Wilkins, Sam Tevy, who just got brought in. Mo Alley Cox is going to be up. T.Y. Hilton's going to be up. Zach Pascal, DeMichael Harris, my guy, Michael's guy. And then Ashton Doolin are going to be up. I mean, holy crap. That's a ton.
I have an early prediction. 2022 is going to be the first time we see Chris Ballard use the franchise tag. I think that's what's going to happen, whether if it's to hold a player to get an extension done. That way he doesn't go and sign somewhere else, or he will literally say, hey, I'm just going to place this on you and you'll play on it this year, even though that's not his MO.
Hey, I hope you're wrong. I hope they're able to get deals done without it.
Yeah.
I hate the franchise tag.
Yeah.
With the passion. I've always respected the Colts are against it. I mean, Jim Irsay has kind of even spoke against it in the past. So, I mean, I feel like there's a reason that even as the GMs have went in and out, like it's just been so long since the Colts used it. The last person the Colts used it on was Pat McAfee. And I believe they used it to get a deal done before. Like, so it wasn't even a actual playing on the franchise tag situation. And I mean, the only guy I'm trying to think, because to me, I think Darius Leonard's contract is going to get done before the season.
Well, yeah, I'm not even considering him in this talk. If there's one guy that I know for sure that I'm going to re-sign off this list, Braden Smith, Darius Leonard, they're out of it. They're going to get re-signed here in the next couple of months or month. Naeem Hines, the only guy. He's the only guy. Zach Pascal, I'll let him test the market. T.Y., let you test the market.
So here's the thing. I think I would switch one thing because Naeem Hines, because the way the franchise tag works, I mean, I don't know if Naeem Hines needs to make top 5 running back money. I mean, now I think the situation you could use is if you had to use it on somebody, I may use it on Braden Smith because that's probably where his contract's going to be anyway. And then you can sign it and then you can just move it on that way. I think they get a deal done as well. I mean, he wants to be here. I think Naeem Hines will probably get a deal done faster than we think because he wants to be here. But we're going to see guys. Oh, George Odom, I didn't say earlier. I apologize. Also a big special teams guy. He just got hurt this last week, which is sad. We're hoping he has a full recovery. He says he's going to be good for training camp. So he had to have surgery on his leg, it looked like, after an injury. But I think the biggest thing is we're going to see some guys leave that we don't want to see leave.
I would not want to see leave, though.
I mean, I think Mark Glowinski's a guy to highlight that could be someone that the Colts end up letting go. They have some interesting options at guard behind him that they could look at to see if they could be in that future realm at guard. He's a guy that I could see not getting re-signed. I mean, there are Colts fans that love Xavier Rhodes. I cannot imagine if he has another year like last year that his market's not going to be better. Like his market, the corner market this year just wasn't that lucrative for most, other than like the top two names. So, I mean, Xavier Rhodes, the dry market kind of led him back to us. But, man, I mean, everyone else, it would be tough to put the franchise tag on. It would take guys having crazy years. I mean, Touré, you're not going to put the franchise tag on currently unless he had some crazy year this year.
Right.
None of the special teams guys you're going to give it to. Maybe T.Y. Hilton if he just wants one more year type of thing to get him back. Zach Pascal, you're not going to use it on. But he's going to be unrestricted this next time. He was restricted this past time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I hate the franchise tag so much. I'm just going to find a way off of it. If I had to pick one person that gets to use the franchise tag on, I'd probably say Braden Smith. Now, I will say this. I want to know who is the biggest name that you think has a chance to not be brought back to Indy, whether it's they move on elsewhere because they are going to get more money, or the Colts let them walk, or maybe they retire. Any of those situations. But which of the notable names that I read off do you think could not return to Indy following this year?
Mark Glowinski, one of them. Possibly to retirement. I mean, Xavier Rhodes. I just envisioned T.Y. Hilton coming back. The pandemic and all this stuff just really put a big bummer on what contract he potentially could have gotten, a multi-year one. I can't really think of anything else, man. Everyone else that are free agents, I don't consider big-time players other than obviously Leonard, Smith, Hilton, Rhodes, everyone else. I mean, Al-Qadim Muhammad, Kamoko Touré, Hines, yeah.
Hines would be to that group of guys that you just can't let walk.
Yeah. I mean,
I think the two that you said are probably the two I would say that Glowinski and Rhodes, I would not be shocked if they're gone. Glowinski, I could see maybe hanging it up if that came to terms. Rhodes, I think if he has another year like last year, he'll be able to get money elsewhere. I still think he's going to regress this year. I want to be wrong, Colts fans. I do. I just don't think the odds of him replicating this past year are likely. I would say that they're pretty unlikely, actually. I hope I'm wrong, Colts fans. I really do. I mean, I've gotten a lot of crap from Colts fans about believing that, but those are the guys that I for sure think we could see walk. I think maybe one of Matthew Adams or Zaire Franklin we could see walk because they maybe want to try to get some actual linebacker play and not just special teams work. Maybe one of them. I mean, I don't see a team where they can actually come in and produce the starting middle like linebacker right away. But we'll see what happens.
Hey, I mean, I will say this. With as many guys as we have, I would not be surprised if a guy is traded. I would not be surprised. Training camp or in the season at the deadline. If someone needs a rusher and they want Kamoko Touré or Al-Qadim Muhammad, I mean –
Ben Banagoo.
No, shut up. I mean, that's I could honestly see someone getting traded. Obviously, Jordan Wilkins is the obvious name.
I think we'll
But
see a good amount of guys get traded at training camp cuts this year. I think we have a very deep roster. I think there are multiple guys that could not make our roster that could definitely produce on other teams. I think a few of these defensive linemen could be a few of them.
Taylor Stalwart, if he loses the battle with Antoine Woods, as I expect he will, he'll be picked up rather quickly. He will.
And I think you could get a day 3 pick out of him, like a 7th somewhere for just because you're going to cut him. I think you could get that out of him. I still think Jordan Wilkins is the guy that could get dealt at training camp. If some of these young running backs on the end of the roster can impress here in the next couple of months, I think he's a guy who could get traded. I mean, there's so many linebackers on this roster that are going to have – that one's going to have to get cut. If one's Zaire Franklin or Matthew Adams, maybe their tenure and their expertise on special teams is enough to get a draft pick out of them. Who knows?
There's only 6 of them.
I mean, it just depends on how many they're going to keep.
I mean, EJ Speed, time to play him. Matthew Adams. I think Matthew Adams has done well at Sam. The times I've seen him, he's been pretty good in run defense.
I think he is a solid fill-in guy, but he is not someone I could ever expect to play multiple snaps. Like the thing that I'm worried about with Anthony,
we don't play multiple snaps from the Sam position, though.
I guess that's true, but I mean the biggest thing for me is, I mean, I know a lot of Colts fans didn't like Anthony Walker. They hated that he was bad in coverage. I hate that when they have one thing that is not a strength for them. It's probably a weakness, you could even say. Like that's the thing that gets hit on so much, even though Anthony Walker had so many parts of his game that were fun to watch. And the biggest thing is now that he's gone, I mean, so many of these other linebackers are going to get actual snaps. I mean, Darius Leonard hasn't shown he can play a full season healthy. He's not done that yet. That's not something we can just expect coming from him. So, I mean, there's going to be games where Bobby Okariki's out there with one of those other guys starting if Darius Leonard can't play the entire season.
Yep. Hey, I mean, look, these guys played under Anthony Walker. It's time to step up. EJ Speed, learning from Anthony, learning from Darius, time to step up. It's one of those things, man. I mean, I truly expect there's going to be 6 linebackers. I mean, Jordan Glasgow, special teamer. I mean, the running backs, Deion Jackson, Darius Anderson, former TCU Horned Frog, Jet. Man, I look forward to hearing about him in training camp. I can't wait to see what he's got, what he can show. But yeah, man, I expect this list to actually get shorter after training camp, obviously, once there's cuts made and everything. But yeah, man, that's all I have to say about this. I think we're probably about to wrap it up now.
Yeah, I mean, super thankful for everybody listening again. Super glad to be back. I think me and Michael just went through a whole episode without arguing. So wherever you are, I think you guys should clap for us. I think me and Michael showed that we don't hate each other on a live broadcast. I mean, that's crazy. Good for us. We're out here being friends and crap. I mean, I think we didn't say this in the beginning, but I mean, you guys are listening to the Blue Stable, the official Colts podcast of Fansided. I'm super thankful for Fansided believing in us and promoting our work and helping to get us to more Colts fans out there. We have some super exciting things coming here soon that we're going to want you guys to be on the lookout for. We might have some tickets to give away for next season coming up. I think we're planning a tailgate event for next year that we're going to want you guys to come to. But super excited, man. Love being able to have this platform and love that we're able to bring you guys Colts content.
Yeah, absolutely. The tailgate we are absolutely excited about. Tickets, we're going to be taking over the Lucas Oil Stadium Blue Stable takeover. So I can't wait for it, man. I can't wait to get to Indianapolis, get with you guys, go to Indy and see what the hell Indy has to offer. Because all I hear,
stay at Hotel Adams.
Yeah, stay at Hotel Adams where free breakfast, maids, dry cleaning, and all that stuff. All that stuff is available. I even hear they got a valet, and I have my own chauffeur already. So, hey, I mean, I can't wait. I just can't, man. I can't wait to get to Indy. So that'll do it for this episode of the show, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Like Destin said, thank you to Fansided. We are the official Colts podcast for Fansided, guys. We will see you next week. Oh, and enjoy those NBA playoffs. And I guarantee you will enjoy Luka bending the Clippers over and doing god-awful things to them. All right, so Mavs in 6. I'm outie.